What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy here. I'm ocean bound and I'm heading to Pleasure Bay. All right, cool. So overall, I'm pretty stoked about the Parawing. The wind is like a little light. In general, actually, we're gonna have enough. So I'm gonna go out on the 1350 again today. Of course, I wanna go out on that 1180, but I think the 1180 will have its turn when I have my downwind board back. It's just the 1350 is just making things easier. I personally want to start tacking. I've seen some other people tacking and whatnot. So like, that's my plan, is to try tacking today. I tried it a bunch last session and I wasn't having a lot of success. In fact, it was just really light last session. So every time I do a jibe, I try to crank a really hard jibe so it wouldn't do this, but like it's, you know, basically as I was jibing, I kept, you know, running into the wing, and when you have enough power, that doesn't happen. So, you know, in ways I feel like I can get out in lighter winds with my 1675 foil, but I'm not really sure what the gains are, because jibing especially is just not as easy when you're going around and there's no wind. There's some people that mentioned from my last video that they thought that the wing design was crap because the corners were folding in, so they think it should be a ram air kite. Well, the appeal to this whole thing is that it doesn't have cells that can fill up with air, that it is single celled, because trust me, I don't think that there's any way that you can fly a kite like that and then get it in the water, and then like, especially in a light wind situation, like you're not gonna be able to relaunch that thing. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I think Greg's really onto something with the design. The reason why my wingtips were flapping a little bit is A, because I was cranking up wind, and B, I had the bridle far forward. So it's flying right on the front of the window. And that's what's gonna cause those corners to kind of flap in a little bit. It didn't really seem to affect my experience too much. So I just think it's funny that people were commenting on that, and I don't think it's like that big of an issue. I know people are eagerly waiting for me to ride in downwind situations, and that's just, I'm looking forward to it. I just haven't had the opportunity yet. We haven't had the conditions. This fall should be good. So I'm just making use of all my flat water time, and I'm trying to get good on this thing, and then we're gonna hit the downwind situations when it's time, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So yeah, let's flip this around, get set up. I only have like 2 hours to play, so let's just hope that wind stays up and do some tacks and jibes today. All right, here we go. All right, so first off, just attach the rope. Never really ridden a harness before, so I think that's good. It's kind of hard to tell. I think this will work bridle-wise, so it'll be interesting. All right, certainly good sign, because I've figured this out in previous sessions. It likes to do this when there's weird gust eddies. So the fact, come on, well, that's annoying. I was just gonna say the fact that it's not doing this is a good thing, but it just did it. All right, so I got the battle belt. I've got the harness and the harness hook all set up. I'm just so new to the harness thing. Not stoked about it. I don't like harnesses, but I can see how this could maybe make sense to try to get upwind. It's so light, it does its own thing. Time to give it a rip. We got some pull today. Feels good. I know that the harness hook is supposed to, Greg recommended on the other side of the bridle, but since I moved that bridle, oh, I got some nice wind. Look at, I'm not even trying to get up, it's just that much wind. All right, I'm up. So I just figured, because I ride that thing farther up than what Greg kind of mentions, it makes sense for me to put the harness line on the other side of it. And it's, I have it right at that white line that starts off with your stuff on the bar. So yeah, here we go. All right, let's give it a rip. Certainly rides farther back in the window. Interesting. Fail. Maybe we'll try riding a little farther down today. Can't wait to use the downwind board. It's gonna be so nice. So this is round 2 of sorts. Wind's cranking. So I just put my 1180 on. God, I want this 1180 to work so hard. I feel like it's gonna work. It's gonna work better with the downwind board, but we will certainly give the old college try. Fucking score, yeah! 1180 happened. Oh, alright, first time riding my 1180. Stoked this is working. Got a lot of wind right now, but it's so much more manageable with the harness. Really kind of unfinished. Successful. My first successful tack. Woo! Welcome back. With coil. Alright, day number 3 in the books. I got lots to say, so let's meet back at my house. All right. Okay, that was sweet. So I wish we had wind like this every day. I mean, we would get better so much quicker, and I'm sure I kind of represent, you know, the average user out there that can really only get a session like once or twice a week tops. That's about what I've averaged on the Parawing. This is like my 3rd real session. So this is the first day that I've ridden any sort of harness with the wing. I've been very stubbornly anti-harness. I'm like a purist when it comes to like holding on to things, I guess. But Greg mentioned that going upwind is easier with the harness. And if one of the goals is to do like upwind downwinds, then getting upwind more efficiently just makes sense. Because from what I can tell, Parawings can't crank up wind the same as you can with the real wing. So the harness is good. I'm stoked. For anyone who's wondering, I found an old wing leash line and I started by attaching that by the green part on the top of the handle, and then I messed around with kind of how far I wanted it away from my body, and then I just kind of tied it and wrapped a bunch of the extra line around the bar so it wasn't getting in my way. Now Greg recommended having it on the inside of where he says to set the bridle. But since my first few sessions, I was flying that bridle closer to my top hand, I put it on the outside. And I ended up putting it right about where Greg recommends putting the bridle. So the harness was just much easier than I thought it was gonna be. Making micro adjustments to the angle of the Parawing is just really easy. And in ways it kind of takes the fun out of things, but it also, you gain just like this different experience. You know, it was definitely easier to go upwind, easier to manage power. I mean, to an extent, maybe not with like huge gusts, but in general, your body absorbs just a lot more of what your hands and arms would take. The one thing I noticed, the harness did keep the wing lower in the window, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of realized that I've been holding the wing higher in general, and this could be because it's nice to have it like out of my vision and I'm just one-handed. It just kind of feels like nice to hang in it, or it could be because I've been flying that bridle farther up, which makes it sit farther up in the window, so it just wants to fly a little higher. This session I happened to be flying a lot more with the bridle farther back, so the wing was sitting deeper in the window in general. But even when I had the bridle forward, the harness just kind of kept everything lower. And this was different, and I liked it. It's a new video of Greg, you know, flying in Maui, and he definitely rides with these wings farther down than I was riding before. So I'm realizing now that this is the way, and it's changing the way that I ride. So this sesh, I started on my 1350, and then there was enough wind, and I went back and I switched to my 1180, and that was a success, or mostly success. I struggled a little bit, but it was the first sesh that I had enough power for me to get up on the 1180, or for it to pull me up on the 1180. Now, the 1350 is definitely easier to pump onto foil, especially into light wind, but the 1180 worked when I had enough power to pull it up, so it was just nice to be on a smaller foil for sure. I really look forward to using my downwind board because I'm hoping that I'll be able to tap even smaller foils, but in general, I still recommend for any of you guys to start on the biggest foil you have. It's just gonna make things easier. I wanted to discuss jibing a little bit. I feel like I had a good amount of power in this session, so I was hoping that jibing was gonna be easier. When you're underpowered, the Parawing doesn't really fly the best, and you know, as you go downwind, you tend to kind of run into it, or it'll slack and fall on its back. So this set should have been better, right? I had a lot of wind, but I was missing a bunch of my jibes. I was purposely flying it over my head in like a neutral position, and then as I cut the jibe, I'd like, you know, tilt the control bar over in the new direction. But a lot of times it would fly the other way, and sometimes it would like fly the other way and even come around upside down. Like, it was just bugging me that it just kept happening and I couldn't figure out why. And I did adjust the bridle in like different positions, and that wasn't it. It wasn't until later that I kind of realized what the issue was. You can kind of treat this thing like a joystick, right? So if you turn it left, it goes left, and if you turn the bar right, it goes right. But what really matters is if you happen to pull backwards or forwards while you're going left and right. And you may not realize that you're doing that because there's a lot going on. So I was thinking about kites, and like a 4-line kite, you know, you turn, it's kind of like steering a bike, and you bring the left hand in and it pulls on the back lines of the left-hand side, which basically pulls the kite and pivots it in the direction that you want to go. Well, the Parawing is different. If you pull into the left, the back corner actually goes slack and the front lines are loaded up. So yeah, you can steer it on the front lines, but then there's other factors that can kind of affect its turn. So you don't really want the trailing edge lines to go slack. It's really important when turning to keep the bar upright on a forward and backwards axis, and you really want to go on a left and right axis so the Parawing can pivot appropriately. Now, this may be intuitive and a non-issue for many of you, but it's almost like on my third solid session in, I was just developing bad habits and I didn't realize it. Next sessions, I'm going to focus on turning the wing, keeping its eye on its behaviors and my hand angle. I really want to start, you know, trying to pack it away. My friend Rick said he was able to successfully pack away his 4-meter the other day, and you know, he's over 1 or 2 sessions ahead of me. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to pack this 5.1 meter into this little belt. I'm just gonna have to practice it more on land because the 2 times I tried it this session, it just didn't work that well. It's harder with the 5.1 meter than it looks with the 2.9 meter that I keep seeing in videos, especially in a totally lit session. Every time I tried to do that this session, you know, it just kept catching wind and wanting to unfurl. Alright, so that's it for this video, an update of what I've learned. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see some more of my videos, please consider clicking that subscribe button or not. Drop me a comment. Feel free to ask me any questions you have about the Parawing, or let me know your experience if you're getting into this. I promise to be covering more stuff beyond the Parawing, but I'm just waiting for better conditions around here. So with that, I hope all of you are doing well out there. See you soon on the flip, and I wish you all an awesome day. Later!